ends. The body roll, at least for a nearly 7,000-pound SUV with me inside of it, is really minimal. You couldn't tell this car weighs nearly 7,000 pounds by the way it just goes down a back road like an absolute scalpel. Gravity does 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds, which isn't phenomenal for an EV. Obviously, we've tested cars that can go quicker than that. But you can tell there's definitely some software limitation on the launch control. I definitely think they're sandbagging it a bit via software, and I think that might just be because they're trying to save room for a more performance-oriented version of the car. But either way, you're still blowing the doors off of pretty much every other 7-seater that isn't electrified. Now, this Squircle-style steering wheel isn't my favorite kind of steering wheel. I definitely prefer the setup they have in the Air, but I can understand why Lucid went with this style of wheel for Gravity, and it certainly isn't hard to get used to as far as maneuvering Gravity. And because the steering is so sharp and responsive and almost steer-by-wire-like, you don't really have to do a whole lot of movement like you would with a traditional wheel. But when you're not sending it down a back road, which isn't really something a lot of Gravity owners will do anyway, the suspension is very refined. It's supple and compliant. It handles uneven pavement and potholes pretty well given the size and weight of the car and given how low it sits to the ground. Even the lowest ride height, it's still extremely compliant with crappy New Jersey roads, which I experience a lot of around here. And then the cabin itself is just so serene and peaceful and insulated. Compared to an R1S, it just feels a lot more refined, luxury-oriented, but at the same time, a lot more sporty and enthusiast-focused. It's really interesting. When I think of some of my favorite 7-seaters I've ever driven, I think of like the Escalade V, the Alpina XB7, heck, even the Volvo EX90, that's a great one. The Gravity doesn't have the epic supercharged V8 gunshot burbles of the Escalade V or the luscious Lavalina leather of the Alpina XB7, but I think as an overall package, you could argue that this is the better car just because it kind of does everything really well and just has that enthusiast